Whereas Lane Tech is known as the school champions, having a rich century-old tradition of academic and athletic excellence. Whereas the student athletes of Lane Tech continue to exhibit the dedication, sacrifice, teamwork, fair play, and spirit, which are the true hallmarks of a champion. Whereas the Lane Tech girls sophomore volleyball team demonstrated incredible skill, resilience, and teamwork throughout their 2024 season, achieving an impressive 17-4 overall record and placing second in their conference with a 7-2 record. Whereas the team faced significant challenges, including an early season injury of a key player who continued to support their team from the sidelines, and the emotional toll of some players dealing with the loss of a beloved club coach, which they overcame through sheer passion and unwavering unity. Whereas the team consistently displayed grit and determination, frequently triumphing in intense three-set matches, and culminating their season with a hard-fought victory against Kenwood in the Chicago Public League City Championship, a match that showcased their growth, communication, and mental toughness under pressure. Whereas individual players achieved exceptional milestones that contributed to the team's success, including MVP Brooke S. with 43 aces. Offensive Player of the Year, Sabrina K. Defensive Player of the Year, Natalie K. Most Improved Player, LEC with 40 kills. Don't anything. I know you guys have a drink from Smart House. Spoiler alert.
Good job, Mr. Paul.
Spirit Award, Champion of the Year, Carissa B. Most blocks, Maggie B with 11 blocks.
No.
Most assists, Kenley C with 27 assists. And most digs, Sienna D with 56 digs. Whereas the Lane Tech girls sophomore volleyball team has added their name to and enhanced the legacy of the Lane Tech as a school of champions. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the Lane Tech Local School Council, on behalf of the Lane Tech community, do hereby recognize and commend the 2024 Lane Tech girls sophomore volleyball team for their outstanding achievements and live with pride to their continued success. Now we have the roster here, led by girls sophomore head coach Michelle Lowe. We have the varsity coach here, Norman Wong. And on the team are Brooke S., Maggie B., Samantha D., Phoebe O'Toole, Charlotte B., Kayla M., Carissa B., Lucy M., Sienna D., Natalia K., Elizabeth G., Sabrina K., Kenley C., Catherine L., and LC. Congratulations.
Yeah, well, yeah, sure.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
And the label?
Yes.
Both of them. Sure. Miss Moses.
Oh, yeah. Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. Both of them are focused on like alongside. And Miss Moses is a teacher.
Is there anyone here for the golf team? Ready? Golf? The resolution of the Lane Tech Local School Council honoring our 2024 24-25 boys varsity golf city champions.
All right.
Whereas Lane Tech is known as the school champions, having a rich century-old tradition of academic and athletic excellence. Whereas the student athletes of Lane Tech continue to exhibit the dedication, sacrifice, teamwork, fair play, and spirit, which are the true hallmarks of a champion. Whereas the Lane Tech boys golf team captured the 2024 Chicago Public League Boys Golf Team Championship, their first title in 25 years, with an impressive team score of 301. The lower the better, right? Just making sure. Whereas this year's victory followed the runner-up finish in 2023 and was powered by the commitment and leadership of 4 seniors: Jackson H., Will W., Garrett N., and Nolan M., who joined the team as freshmen with the shared goal of returning Lane Tech to championship glory. Whereas head coach Robert Hirsch guided the team with wisdom and trust, allowing the players to take ownership of their practices and matches, culminating in this historic victory. Whereas Lane Tech's victory was further highlighted by senior Will Walsh, securing the individual championship, demonstrating composure under pressure and delivering clutch performances down the stretch to inspire his team's success. Whereas team members Frederick D., Garrett N., and Jackson H. also delivered outstanding performances, each finishing in the top 10 and contributing to the team's championship state championships. Where the JV Lane Tech boys golf team also won the CPL JV championship, led by individual champion Sam S., who took first place, and Stan J., who took second place. Whereas the Lane Tech boys golf team has added their name to and enhanced the legacy of Lane Tech as the school champions. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the Lane Tech local school council, on behalf of the Lane Tech community, do hereby recognize and commend the boys varsity JV and JV golf team for their outstanding achievements and look with pride for their continued success. Here's the list of the team members. William W. took first place, Garrett N. and Frederick D. tied for second place. Jackson H. was the top player in the conference. Dean G. was the top university golfer. We have Nolan M., Cameron M., William W., and Jeremiah A. Now, the boys varsity golf team and junior varsity golf team, we have Sam S. took first place, Sayard J. took second place. We also have Finnegan B., Kaiser C., Hudson F., Henry F., Alex L., Remington P., Gavin P., Zach S., and Hunter Smith.
Did you bring someone with you?
Anybody else?
There we go. Well, it's all you, all about you. Congratulations. No. One more.
Right.
Congratulations. Very good.
All right. So the next one is honoring Sebastian Wilson. So Sebastian Wilson, the resolution of the Lane Tech Local School Council honoring Sebastian Wilson. Whereas Lane Tech is known as the school champions, having a rich century-old tradition of academic and athletic excellence. Whereas the students of Lane Tech continue to exhibit the dedication, sacrifice, integrity, and spirit, which are the true hallmarks of a champion. Whereas Sebastian Wilson has demonstrated exceptional athletics, talent, and achievement in the sport of baseball, earning a commitment to the University of Tennessee as a 7th grader in 2022. Is that right? Can they do that? Named to the 2024 Prep Baseball Report of PBR, second team All-State this year, the #1 ranked player in the class of 2027, the #25 player in the country by PBR, and the #12 player in the country by Perfect Game. Whereas Sebastian's remarkable performance during the high school baseball season helped lead the Lane Tech baseball team to the 2024 Chicago Public League State Championship in exciting fashion, coming back from behind. Played at Wrigley Field. And earned him a spot on the 2024 CPL All-Conference team and the 2024 CPL All-City team. Whereas Sebastian holds Lane Tech's single-season record for hits, runs, and batting average, and earned him the team's Silver Slugger Award. And this is as a freshman on the varsity team. Whereas Sebastian represented Lane Tech and Illinois at the highest levels in prestigious national events, including the 2024 Area Code Games, the 2024 Hank Aaron Invitational, the 2024 Baseball Generations All-Star Game, and the 2024 Max Preps High School Baseball Underclass All-American Team, and the 2024 Perfect Game National Showcase. You've been around, haven't you? Where Sebastian Wilson has added his name to and enhanced the legacy of Lane Tech as a school of champions. Now, just as a side note, Sebastian played with my son many years ago before his trajectory took off. And I have a text here I sent to the baseball coach, Sean Friedman, in 2019 when you were 10. But hey, Sean, check out this video of Sebastian Wilson. This kid is 10 years old and on Nathan's team. He's a kid to keep an eye on. A great hitter who regularly hits bombs and has an exit velocity in the mid-60s. That's pretty good for a 10-year-old, right? He's 10. So, Sebastian, I'm honored to present this resolution to you. So be it resolved that we, the Lane Tech Local School Council, on behalf of the Lane Tech community, do hereby recognize and commend Sebastian Wilson for his outstanding achievements and live with pride to your continued success on and off the field. Congratulations. All right. One more. Last but not least, we're going to honor the boys varsity soccer team. Anybody here for the soccer team? I know Coach Ricks is here.
They were invited.
Go on. Coach Ricks has been doing this for decades. This is not his first rodeo, so he deserves to stand right.
My wife had to say hold, but she should probably be here too.
That's amazing. All right.
We will amend the resolution.
She's a real boss.
She's a single parent during soccer.
All right. So, a resolution of the Lane Tech Local School Council honoring our 2024-25 boys varsity soccer team. Whereas Lane Tech is known as the school of champions, having a rich century-old tradition of academic and athletic excellence. Whereas the student athletes of Lane Tech continue to exhibit the dedication, sacrifice, teamwork, fair play, and spirit, which are the true hallmarks of a champion. Whereas the Lane Tech boys soccer team made history in 2024 with its first ever appearance in the ILCS State 3A State Championship game. And this is the highest achievement in this program's storied history and ended up being a state runner-up. Whereas Lane Tech's season was marked by extraordinary achievements, including the IHSA Super Sectional, and Regional Champions, the CPL and regular season conference champions with an impressive record of 18-3-4. Whereas the team's journey to the state final showcased resilience and determination, with Lane battling through regulation, 2 overtime periods, and a lot of rain, and dramatic penalty shootout in the championship game under challenging weather conditions. Whereas team members demonstrated excellence in both individually and collectively, including junior Jasper G, named All-State, seniors Grayson T and Leo B, and junior goalkeeper Evan B, recognized as All-Sectional. Senior captain Grayson T, who led the team with 18 goals, exemplifies leadership and teamwork. Whereas Lane Tech The Lane Tech boys soccer team inspired the school and community, uniting fans with their thrilling playoff run and cementing their legacy in the Lane Tech history books. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the Lane Tech Local School Council, on behalf of the Lane Tech community, do hereby recognize and commend the boys varsity soccer team for their outstanding achievements and look with pride to their continued success. And the boys varsity team is led by head coach Andrew Briggs for 22 years. And the head coach Samuel Buren. The team is composed of Luke P., Evan B., Andrew H., Maximilian S., Philip G., Jasper G., Sebastian B., Julian A., Kaden K., Grayson T., William H., Leo B., Joshua W., Cam C., Warren R., Adrian O., Alexander B., Brian G., Benicio L., Sebastian W., Miles M., Robert M., Julian S., Eduardo A., and Adrian S. And managers Annie F., Avra R., and Keyboard B.
Of course.
All right.
There's a camera behind you. So online people too.
So thanks to LSC for all you do. I don't come to enough of these. I know I'm as a teacher here. Thanks to my colleagues who are on the board and students as well. But the LSC for your time, I appreciate that. I know the skills as well from their exchange students to house Ms. Fleischman's daughters in my class and then the students' daughter as well. So thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Nice to see you. Thanks for the support from the administration. Ms. Thompson was at all the big games, so I don't know how you do it all day long. LSC meetings, so I appreciate that. I know the kids appreciate it. Really cool moment, winning at New Trier against Leiden. The players swarmed her. And it was really fun. And they really shared the moment with her too. That was really cool. On a big school to connect with your principal is not easy, I don't think. But the kids, they were right for you. And so it was really cool. I enjoyed that moment. As opposed to others. So, and congratulations to the other students who are here. Sebastian, I had a class. I had an interesting story, Mr. Wong, when Sebastian was in my class last year, and all it was a lot of, I just heard hype about this kid, like how good he was. This was in the fall, no baseball season until spring. And I kept telling Sebastian, like, hey, I'm hearing lots about you. I want results. I want results. And when it came time for spring, he showed me his videos and St. Ignatius hitting a home run with the skyline in the background, and then the city final two. So it's really cool to see you prove it, and I hope you keep proving it as well. So thank you very much. I just want to put that.
Yeah, thank you.
They stuck a hammy too. She was the games.
Oh yeah, don't worry about me.
Get in there.
Oh, but I like it. That's like a lot of trouble. You don't know that.
All right. How do you top that? Top that with a pencil report.
I don't know if I can. Just so you all know, you are more than welcome to leave at any time. You are not obligated to stay. This report will take a little while tonight, so I will not take it to heart. For those of you who yes, no, you all are fine. I just wanted you all to know it's not rules. All right. Yes.
I asked one favor.
Okay.
You have a picture of two of my kids. I am privileged to have two city champions.
You want me to take a picture right now? Of course.
Yes, yes, yes.
Well, of course, because you know your mom.
It may never happen again, but
No. What you have to be proud of is that she was cheering him on from the front. So that's good work. You ready? You all ready?
thank you so much.
You're welcome. Congratulations. page. Now down to the stuff that no one wants to really listen to. After celebrating all those wonderful children. Let me tell you though, out of all of those soccer games, and I'm amazed that I said for girls soccer too, the endurance that it must take to last for 40 minutes with very minimal substitutions, or only to have there are like no timeouts in soccer, only to have a 20-minute halftime, 10-minute halftime, back to 40 more minutes, driving across the field, the width and the breadth. I don't know how they do it, but they do, and they do it with smiles. And every time they win, they go to the crowd and they sing "Go Lane Go." Yeah, from beginning to end in a single file. And so
it'd be fun to see other teams start that.
Yeah,
I wonder if the Ohio State Buckeyes do that too. No matter if they win or lose, they do that to their home field.
Well, when they were runners up at state, the kids who were their fans sung it for them. Because they were devastated. It was probably the saddest loss I've ever seen, but the audience, they sung it to them, which I think that was a testimony to who they've been to. So yeah, and there were a lot of teachers out there, including Mr. Nunez over there, consist in the rain and the cold, and of course Dr. Hill was there too. So I just want to point that out because they were awesome. And I will also say this for our volleyball, I've had a chance to watch them this season, and if the sophomores keep playing the way that they've been playing, I can't even tell you where they'll end up in the next 2 years. They're good. All right, so let's start with, I still provided my traditional report. That's the 2.5 pages. I'm not going to, yes, you didn't get one?
I didn't get one.
That's okay.
That's on the end.
We have some extras. Anyone else?
We
got you. Did you get this report? What about this one?
I did not.
I love that. There you go.
Thank you.
All right, so this report, read it at your leisure, is just the traditional report. I just didn't want to go without providing this. And Olin and the students have been charged with sharing a few highlights from the student perspective, so they'll do that in a few minutes. I am charged with our state of the school. And with that, there are a few data points that exist. And so I gave all of you all a few slides to just speak to that. So if we can walk together through this document, that would be great. Okay. So these really are district desires that every school provides the state of the school update at some point in the fall. And so that's why we're doing it now. We have to wait until we receive the data. And so in this plan, if you turn the page, the first part we're going to talk about just CPS's vision and mission, and then we'll dive a little bit into Lane Tech's vision and mission onto how we are going to be reviewed and examined this year as a school. So the mission has continued. The goal for CPS is to serve every child. We have already been seeing the results of that, especially through the budgeting process that happened last spring, where we did the opportunity index and we decided which schools would get what, etc. And that's because they are trying to improve the quality, the educational experience for students across our district. And so for the graduate profile, you'll see they're trying to build ethical and collaborative leaders, inquisitive learners, empowered decision makers, engaged community members, and adaptable and independent thinkers. And the core values, which I believe were still in existence prior to this new policy: student-centered, whole child equity, academic excellence, community partnership, and continuous learning. Everything that we do in our building is embedded in those values. There's nothing that's outside of that. And then the 4 major shifts that they've had were really around these 4 areas. And they have really provided a lot of foundational work to ensure that we are all embodying this. And that's how we define student success. There was a time where student success was based on you meeting your benchmark scores. Well, they are looking at the whole child now, so it's not just about how you score on those final standardized assessments, and instead how you score on how you do on your practice data, how are you doing in your classes, are you on track to graduate? Those pieces are very important. Their approach to accountability and how they support students. So in the past, we had what was called the SQRP. That's when they gave us all these ratings. I used to talk about them for on track, PSAT, SAT, early college credit. But what did not exist was the funding to support the mandate that was upon schools. And now what they're saying is that not only are schools accountable, but their goal is to also be accountable to schools and therefore provide the resources that are needed in order to implement programs that will benefit students. And so that's the accountability piece. Then how we invest in schools and community, like I said, that's the new budgeting system. And then how they make major decisions. You see a lot of news about open sessions for public comment on policies and or anything new that they're trying to introduce in the district. There are public sessions that are held all around the district to accomplish that. And so that's their attempt at not only including the voices that might not be heard otherwise, but to go into various neighborhoods in school buildings in different parts of the city to ensure that more voices are heard. And the priorities are still the same. Every student has a rigorous, joyful, and equitable daily learning experience. And then every school has the conditions and the practices to ensure and drive improvement through equitable lives. So students have to complete a survey called the Cultivate survey now. They just did it last week, Wednesday, during advisory. And that data will then be reviewed. Well, that data will also be displayed in a certain way for public consumption starting in December. And they will talk about how students are connected to their communities, whether or not students feel they're being challenged. Do they feel like they can connect with the teachers in their classrooms? That is all information that will be available for others to see about all schools through a website that I will walk you all through in December, okay? And then last but not least, that every community has inclusive and collaborative partnerships for thriving schools. We are quite fortunate at Lane. We heavily depend upon our Friends of Lane as a partnership and also our Alumni Association as a partnership. And I don't take that lightly. As a matter of fact, last year when we were going through the budget season, I told you all that I really couldn't complain about the budget because I knew that if there was a great need, there were still resources that we could tap into as a school. And so that's where I landed with it. But that's their goal, that's their mission. The next slide talks about the daily experience, and those are just the three keywords that I mentioned: joyful, equitable, and rigorous. So they want them in challenging courses. They want them to have experiences that relate to who they are, their interests, their cultures. And when we say culturally responsive, that's not just about relating to their cultures, it's also being responsive to their needs, whether or not that's social and emotional needs, or maybe they need more support with their academics in the space. So it's about being responsive to the children who are in front of them. That is the goal. All right, any questions about any of that? So that's CPS's mission, that's their vision, and that's part of the 5-year plan that they just rolled out. As a matter of fact, if you go on CPS's website, you might see some of our community members highlighted in pictures and images because we were chose to be the face of that plan. And so staff members voluntarily decided to join and have their pictures taken. So they changed them out, like I want to say once a month or so, but you might see familiar faces on the CPS website. Oh, it's on there. So that's CPS's mission. If we turn the page to Blaine Tech's school mission and vision, the vision and the mission that has existed at this point, I would say maybe 14, 15 years, is what you see listed here. However, last year, you all may remember that we started the process to revise that vision and that mission. And Dr. Hanley led that process. The mission portion is complete. The community provided feedback, parents, students, we sent it out. And so now the vision piece is being finalized. And so then we are looking forward to unveiling our new vision and mission by the end of this school year, well, by the beginning of next school year. So we will have an opportunity to have something new that we feel encompasses, embodies our core values as a community. Okay. Part 2, the continuous improvement in school year, continuous improvement, and then the next 2 school years. So I mentioned the word SQRP earlier. That was the document that used to give all of our ratings, and every school was assigned point values, and that determined whether or not you were a level 1+ school, 1, 2+, 2, 3+, 3. That is gone. Okay, there is a lot of trauma that happened behind those labelings. A lot of other students felt. We were fortunate that we were always level 1+, but that was not the experience of a lot of schools. And they were working very hard to move up in those ranks. But based on the data that they were measured by, it was very hard to do so. The district has spent a lot of time saying, we recognize that's not the way that you should rate schools. And now we want to move forward without doing a rating, but instead providing a holistic picture of what school communities represent. It doesn't mean that they won't still provide our pass rates for On Track or the new ACT data. They will still provide that, but now there's a website that will also contain high quality curriculum. Do we have it or not? In subjects by grade level bands. Are our teachers credentialed? How often are we reviewing data in learning cycles? All of that will be available. And that's the website that I will be showing you all, but it will not come with a leveling for schools. So this is an interesting approach. So communities will still have a chance to look at a school holistically, but it will not be a matter of being able to judge whether or not this school A is better than school B. Any questions about that? No questions? Okay. And so the definition of what it's called the CIDT policy, which is 22 pages long, but that's also going to be the name of the website. That is not the CIWP policy, which is what we developed as a school. It's the CIDT. It's called the Continuous Improvements and Data Transparency Policy. And the hope is that they release it the week of, that they release the website, where this information will be contained the week of December 14th. I believe it's the week of December 14th. So our meeting is before that time, so you all will get a chance to kind of see what I can see before it's released to everyone else. And at the bottom, where it says continuous improvement and data transparency, the triangle contains the 4 categories by which schools will be examined. So evidence of student learning and well-being, the daily learning experience, inclusive and collaborative school communities, and then adult capacity and continuous learning. And under each one of those larger topics, there are multiple sub-areas that will have description. Some, have already decided how will be, what the point values will be. Others won't have any point values at all and will just provide a narrative about the topic for that school. Some of this information I get to contribute to, others I don't. They will pull it from the 5 Essentials survey. They will pull it from the Cultivate survey, and that will allow them to paint a picture about our community. Any questions about that?
So there's going to be no number, like being a real estate agent, when you see, like, when people want to go in a neighborhood, they could see where their schools line up in that neighborhood and what schools they want their kids to go to based on the number. Like, is that going away?
Not for CP, it won't be there for CPS. But there will be some metrics that will have numbers attached to it. You'll still be able to see our 4-year cohort graduation rate, or the number of the percentage of students who pass their AP exams with a 3 or higher. You'll still be able to see things like that. They haven't determined though what ACT will look like or what it means to have proficiency with EL learners, et cetera. So those are the things that they still have to determine. But that's the only data, true data you will see. But it will not work, it will not result in a comprehensive score. Does that make sense? There will not be a comprehensive score.
So the data will all be there, there just won't be a label. So if you want the information, you just have to figure it out for yourself.
And it's later. Yes.
Yeah, wow.
You do that on purpose.
I don't know that it's, so the goal was to provide more transparency about what's happening in school communities. Because right now, what you can find about us is, the number of kids who are here, how many teachers, they give a ratio of 17-1 for student teacher ratio. I
That
don't
seems a
know.
little bit off.
But with that said, there were so many schools that the only thing out there about them were 30% of their kids graduate. 25% of them are proficient in reading and math. And in the elementary schools, in some areas, it was a lot worse than that. And that's the only picture that was out there. It didn't talk about the fact that they do have high quality curriculum, or when students enter, instead of entering on a 9th grade reading level, they're entering on a 3rd grade reading level, and they have to find a way to fill in those gaps. The current system, the previous system did not paint the picture for that. So I think it's an attempt. It's a lot of information to process. There have to be people who really care about looking at it in order to really process it. But I'll always make sure that I'm sharing with this council just where we are. So you will always have the meat and potatoes of the. All right. So next page. These are several of the metrics. English starter progress to proficiency. These will all be numbers. Chronic absences. We talked a lot about chronic absenteeism. That we are rated based on that, okay? 1-year dropout rate, the early college and career credentials, so the number of students that are enrolled in some kind of dual enrollment class or an AP class in our building, college enrollment and persistence. So not only did they get accepted in college, but did they actually attend? And then do they persist beyond the first year? We are held accountable for that. The 4-year cohort graduation rate, there's also a 5-year cohort graduation rate. And then student growth to proficiency, student proficiency, out of school time enrichment and opportunities. That's OST funding. That's where we have to log all of our extracurricular activities, and they give us money to support those. High quality curriculum, they want to know if our curriculum that we're putting before students is high quality. The majority of our students do engage in advanced placement curriculum, but if course teams are creating assessments, that's considered a teacher created assessment. And so on the website, it's going to appear as not rated because we will have to go through a rating process for those individual courses to ensure that it's high quality. And last but not least, balanced assessment systems. And so some of these pieces, they have not, when it says still finalizing, they haven't made a decision about what will all go into making the decisions for the school and how that information is displayed about the schools. Any questions about that list? Oh, all right. And so then you see Lane Tech data. The next 2 slides actually contain Lane Tech data. So remember, this data is based on SY23, you can see SY22, 23, and 24. When you see PSAT and SAT, SY23 was that small class that we had, very small class. Their data looks a little bit better on SAT and PSAT than the larger gender class that are actually current seniors. However, it's not that drastic of a difference given the difference between about 250 kids. We usually see a much larger deviation between the two scores when you have a larger group size, but we did not see that much of a difference. However, what we did see was a drastic increase in our college enrollment rate. That went up about 4.5 points for this larger, 4.5 percentage points for this larger, for the class. And so I am very proud about that. It's part of our priorities. It's one of our CIWP priorities, which for post-secondary success. Dr. Erin Dreisbach from the College and Career Center, our College and Career Center coach, she hunts students down. She will find you. You cannot hide from her. She will find you, and she has done just that. She is one person in a position, not that in addition to the counselors who support their individual students, but she's the person that we are holding accountable for finding kids, making sure they're applying, making sure that they're seeking out scholarships. And when I say she does her job, she does her job. And I am grateful to our counseling staff who also, they have individual meetings with juniors in the spring, and then they turn around and have their individual meetings with those same juniors as seniors in the fall to talk about where they're applying, scholarship processes, calming their nerves, using the work. There's a lot of work that goes into post-secondary preparation in this school. And so I want to give just a shout out to them because they're knowing that work, we can actually see it in the data, which I appreciate. And so those are our school metrics. Some of them will change, some of them will not. You see chronic absenteeism has been added, but the one thing that you don't see is whether or not, what's the overall school attendance rate. That's gone. There used to be an emphasis on all schools having 95% attendance. Well, now the emphasis is on how high is your chronic absenteeism.
And what's considered chronic?
18 or more absences within the school year, right? 18 within the school year. That's a high number of days to miss school, right? Right. So when you see that 29% overall have missed 18 or more days, you have to pause. And most people stop and reflect and say, okay, I see that people are pretty strict on this. That's a lot. But here's the thing. You only need to miss more than 2 periods in a day for it to count as an absence because of minutes. Every student needs 300 minutes, instructional minutes per day in order to count as a full day of attendance. If you have less than 300 minutes per day, but more than 150 minutes per day, it's a half day. If you have less than 150 minutes, it's a full day's absence. That's how it goes. And on advisory days, which are Wednesdays, if you miss advisory, it automatically knocks you into a half day's absence. So when we're seeing this 29% from a high school perspective, this might not be a kid who missed 18 full days of school, but they could have missed 2 periods in a day, even for an excused absence. Chronic absenteeism is excused and excused, both on transcripts. Sickness, hospitalization, that does not exempt you from counting in this number. We don't penalize students for that. Mental health, the mental health day is given by the state, that still counts for this number. Okay, but there is no letter that gets attached for college enrollment for chronic absenteeism. Okay, let me be clear about that. But it is definitely on the record, and our schools definitely reviewed. I want to say the last time we looked at the national average was 40% for chronic absenteeism, and the district average is always around there. So 40% of students are chronically absent from school. So
I know we noticed that.
mm-hmm.
So do you think it's increased? Oh, definitely. Yes,
Hands down.
absolutely. And it seems to get worse as kids move up the grade level.
It does. Our wonderful seniors, their number doesn't pick up until after ILCS. They're still a little bit on the high end, but after ILCS, it's like, okay, I just need to make it to graduation. But part of the problem with this number too is that after they graduate, all of the days after graduation until the very last day of school count as absences. But if you keep them here until June 14th, it's still going to count as absences, right? So what do? Right? For the sake of the school, they need to move forward. They have summer programs that they're entering in college. So it means that we take the hit. That's why we really, really push that. Until that time, we ask for them to be here because we know that at least 5 to 7 days are going to be added onto their transcripts for being out of school.
Yeah, and I was just gonna add that if you're sick, stay home. But if you're feeling like I could just get the work over online, that's just not acceptable and it's not the same. And we try to stress that to our students all the time, that getting the work over Google Classroom, we're pretty much required to do that. And students do reach out via email to get assignments, but just because that's available, it's not the same.
And there are kids who need it. So I want to be clear about that. There are some kids there are all kinds of struggles. But there are some kids who take advantage. And I know because then their parents call me and ask me to talk to them while they're at home to get them to come to school.
Really?
Really? Really, okay? I'm telling you. And isn't it the last 5 calls I've gotten, 4 of them have shown up. And so I feel like the conversation works. 4 to 5, not too much attention, bad or bad again.
It's ratio. Yes, it is.
So, I think the kids are more so embarrassed that their parents are putting their principal on the phone with them to talk to you.
Like, there's no way.
There's no way you're talking to principal. You don't think I'm talking to principal? Good morning, this is Principal Thompson. School. I'm telling you, I don't mind. They know I don't mind. With that said, college enrollment rate, the next slide. I just want to hone in on the priority groups. I was going to only hone in on the priority groups, but when I took a second look at the data, I said, wait a minute. Every single subgroup across the board increased in their college enrollment rate. Every single group, female, male, students with disabilities, economically disadvantaged students, Black students, Latinx, non-Black Latinx, Black female, Black male, Latino female, Latino male. Every single one. And for some of these subgroups, especially for our Black males, we're not talking about like a drastic lowering of numbers. That's in comparison from one year to the next with very similar sample sizes. So I'm very proud of the work that has gone into this. And for some of these smaller groups, it only takes one student to make you drop 5 percentage points. That's it. So we're not even talking about large numbers of, we might be talking about one kid in some instances. This is a huge deal, and I'm very proud of our school. And that's why this one is on here for you all in this way. I didn't want to overload you all with data, but I feel like you should see that across the board, all in every category. It's a big deal. Yes.
What's ED?
Economically disadvantaged. That's what they told us.
What about EL? We haven't this number.
They didn't have the data for this. They have to have, so by the time kids are seniors, they have to have enough people in the sample group to qualify. A lot of our students who enter as needing EL services, by the time they're seniors, what we find out is that a lot of them are either mislabeled. And so by the time they're seniors, the sampling size might not be large. That's fine.
English language learners, right?
Yes. Oh, I thought you said, what about them?
No, what is it?
Oh, it's English language learners. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. I'm sorry, I thought you
English
said,
is not
what
the
about
primary
them? Because they're missing. Yeah.
EL. I think
And then the next 2 slides just really highlights our AP participation data. The big thing between those 2 slides is just that we, last year, It seems like every year I've had to say this, but we've had the highest pass rate in lane tech history for AP. But last year, it said 87.93% of the students passed an AP exam with a 3 or higher. And so that's great. This year, we have an additional 1,000 exams that we are getting. An additional 1,000 exams. I don't think Allison Hildebrandt, AP Hildebrandt realized that until we were sitting around the table. She was typing. She's like, yeah, so we don't do it. She's like, we're giving 1,000 extras. I said, yes, we are. So here we go, right? With the and that's with us de-emphasizing this push of automatic opt-in to APQ and GU. We used to have an automatic opt-in. Every freshman had to every freshman had to opt out if they didn't want to take it. Outside of that, they had APQ and GU. So we went from one extreme of very few people having it to everyone having it to now there being a choice presented, and we still are seeing so many more exams. So,
What's the choice?
world studies.
Okay.
World studies. It's still an honors course. It's just not the AP, and it's very different content. So, anyone else? Questions? The next slide is just our benchmarks. That's another area where we're surpassing set goals. CPS sets the targets for groups for the participation rate. This is for that $186,000 or so that we received. They set the targets, and this is where we were as of us pulling this data maybe 2 weeks ago. So we are exceeding those targets of the number of students and the groups that are actually in the session.
An example of an LC program, I think.
Sure. An international based computing
Okay.
program.
Got it. I didn't know. So
Anything that we choose to enter, where we're going to pay someone.
right, yeah, no, I figured it was type of funding. I just didn't know if it was just all of the regular classes that we are funding through OST, or is it specific?
Well, technically,
Many
yeah.
of them do, like the way we pay sponsors is through OST, but then also like theater, like band, when they have to go to perform at all of the basketball games, football games, they get paid out of OST as well. Certain programs that might have extra time beyond just an after school thing.
The Mel mentoring program. We tried to do, so the summer enrichment camps that we did.
Yeah, I knew.
Those are OST.
Yeah, I was trying to think of an example after school. I didn't realize that we were OST funds or just like regular club sponsors and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, as much, they don't get paid they don't get paid in time, the same amount of time that they put in.
Yeah.
But because we just don't have the funding for that, but they get a small stipend from it. But at this point, I mean, well, you can see the attendance rate is being logged by one clerk. The attendance rate, the participation rate, the priority group rate, tutoring comes out of OST right now as well. So that we get to mark that over time too. And then the last 3 slides are information that you all have seen consistently. It's our CIWP update. I know at least 3 times a year it needs to be mentioned in our space just to provide you with an update. Next Tuesday, the CITP team meets with AP Carrie Thompson, but our priorities are still the same. The only thing that has changed is the metric we have to use. Our priorities in the past, one of them, the curriculum instruction included SAT, PSAT data. That is no longer an option in our district. And so now we are going to measure and try to decrease the achievement gap as it relates to semester grades for these priority groups for curriculum instruction. That's the only change that you are going to see between the priority groups. So it's still curriculum and instruction, post-secondary success, and connectedness and well-being. That's everything. So you all have questions? They gave us 40 slides, but we didn't need to. So, all right. Thank you.
Great job. Thank you very much. All right. Moving on to PLC.
The PLC met on Tuesday, and we discussed a couple of things on our agenda. One was freshman academic support, and we seem to have resolved those areas that we talked about in biology, and the math department is already looking at different ways to support freshmen. They do that over the summer. They also do it with a different range of classes. So I think science is going to do something modeled after what the math department does. And then social science also reported that they were also working on their own types of tier 1 interventions. I don't know if there's anything else. But so we felt like when we were looking at, and I think there's going to be some stuff, there's going to be a summer support, right? That's being offered. I don't know if you want to talk about that.
Again, when students are entering at varying levels when it comes to things like math. A lot of people don't know this, but a lot of elementary schools go without a solid math teacher for upper grades quite often, especially at 7th and 8th grade levels. So kids are entering lane at various degrees, and that's not just students with IEPs. A lot of people think that it's just students with IEPs who are having struggles, but it's not. So the math department is working through how we can provide them with supplemental opportunities to fill in some of the deficiencies that we are seeing, and the goal is to launch that this coming summer. We originally talked about a 4-week opportunity, but we still have to wait to see what they decide. And then they would select incoming students based on a lot of various data points, which they will decide, and then hopefully that will provide students with a stronger foundation before entering algebra and or geometry to start the school year.
So is there placement test they take for the data point?
That's one of the things they're considering, what will be placement test. Because my thing is, our data point cannot be what they did a year and a half before applying to Layton. A lot happens in a year and a half. That's one. Number two, I didn't feel like some kids suffer from testing anxiety, right? And so they just don't do well on standardized assessments, but they might be A students, but their test scores paint up a completely different picture. And so I feel that we have to give an opportunity for them to learn in a less stressful and high stakes environment. And then we, as the educators on site, can decide if these students need that additional support heading into the school year. And whatever the summer results are, what we see out of that will determine if we provide them with a supplemental course next school year as incoming freshmen, where they would get support throughout the year that runs parallel, like a freshman seminar, to their algebra or geometry course, most likely algebra. Because if they're in geometry, it means they tested out, they passed the algebra exam. So that's the goal. And they are considering whether or not that's something they want to do when it comes to literacy as well. English teachers have not expressed seeing the same types of deficiencies, but we do have a self-contained English class with a very small number of students based on their IEPs. And social science has found a way to mitigate a lot of the concerns that they had already. Science is still seeing it, especially with the challenging nature of the vocabulary. And most students just don't have the science instruction prior to high school.
Well, and I think you summed up exactly what we found at the end of exploring this, that it was best to be handled within each department. And so instead of doing some kind of school-wide freshman academic support, across the board for the class, is that let each department try to manage how to offer these supports on a department basis. And so that we feel like we resolved, and the departments are working on that. And the next thing was a testing center for students that miss tests due to absences or other reasons, and for students that may need extra time during tests. So like they need to take a test during an alternate time in an alternate location according to their 504 plans. So we're still working out that idea and also trying to get feedback from the staff on where there seems to be a greater need. So space is always difficult to find here, but those are the two things. And then I guess something that's good is our teacher outreach committee trying to survey teachers on what they would like to see the PLC doing. We haven't heard a lot from the staff. So, I mean, I think in that sense, no news is good news. So, you know, we'll probably have more new items on our agenda on the next meeting.
Thank you. Any questions for the teachers? Thanks for your work.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Next up is Friends of Elaine.
That's me.
Hi, how are you? Welcome.
Hi, I'm Rachel Farrell and I'm on the Friends of Lane board. This is my first time doing this, so although I do believe you will see me at these meetings regularly because I have volunteered to come.
You're the lucky one.
Anyway, so they sent me an email kind of, what am I supposed to say? So I'm just gonna read from my email, sort of what they usually say. So
That's fine.
hopefully, eventually, I won't be like looking at my email to tell you what we've done. But we have been busy this month since our last report. Friends of Lane has helped to fund and facilitate the Oktoberfest. I saw lots of pictures from that. Looked like a fun event, a homecoming dance. My student attended that and had a good time. The principal's luncheon and the community meeting on college planning was on November 12th. Looking ahead over the next month, we are working on finalizing our teacher grants. I would say, like my son, he just started FBLA, and I'm like, does your teacher know? Because I know at Friends of Lane, we say we don't get as many grants as we want. Does your teacher know that you can ask Friends of Lane for money to help with your like clubs and things like that? So we are awarding approximately 50 grants to teachers for things that they need to supplement in their classroom, or if they are running a club, helping sponsor a club, and the grants tend to be about $750. And then our annual appeal is underway, starting on December 3rd for Giving Tuesday. We're hoping to get lots of money that way. And we have a matching donor this year in Chicago Chicago Oral Surgery has given Friends of Lane. They've actually been a really good sponsor for us. They've given us $10,000 many years in a row now. And they are hoping to be a matching sponsor. So we're hoping to get money that way. And we are hosting our annual staff holiday appreciation luncheon on December 13th. And we will be hosting another community event related to course selection on December 3rd. And planning is just starting to get underway for the Green and Gold Gala, which will be on May 9th. And she says, in addition, we will continue to work with Principal Thompson on funding requests to enhance the Lane experience, and we look forward to reporting back again in December. So I should be back in December.
Great job. Thank you so much. Next up, Michelle, the Alumni Association.
Did you get one? Yeah, you did. Hi, everybody. How are you? I know it's late. I'll go fast. We really don't have that many things to report. Before I talk about the three major points, though, I wanted to encourage you all to go on the Instagram site for Lakin Tomlinson. Have you seen this? If you want to understand, so Lakin was recently inducted into our Hall of Fame, and he plays for the Seattle Seahawks, and he was so excited. And his post on Instagram will make you cry if you're a graduate of Lane or soon to be graduate of Lane. It was amazing.
It's also like he wore Lane.
Yeah. What year was that?
Basketball.
Well, this is different. This is different, and this is, right. Yeah.
So did he
When
get
Landon
it
was-
because of you inducting him, the alumni?
Yeah, so his picture isn't up, but he's one of the 4 this year that was inducted.
That's why you think that's why he wore that?
No, two different things.
Oh.
I didn't think this was gonna be so complicated. This was just the aside. Now I understand why we're all still here. But he post ones and he had this awesome bespoke Lane shirt on going down the tunnel to the game. We didn't know that was gonna happen. But he has also been inducted into the Hall of Fame. So the post he did, it was just a couple days ago, was he clipped it from our website and put it up and did this beautiful thank you to the Lane community, to his coaches, to his mom. It's just beautiful. So find him on Instagram and read it, and it'll all make sense. But it's very proudful, and he's just such a good person. He's just a good man. So anyway, 3 major things for you to look at. Also, faculty innovation grant program, which FBLA got him. So yeah, so you're good. Tell your son he's good. Yeah. So just for your benefit, you can see kind of the breakdown of where the grants were awarded. We like that, the pretty well dispersed from department to department. And teachers are redeeming them at a brisk pace. So we are happy to report those dollars are already being put to use. Snowbank, which is what we call our annual coat drive. I saw 400 items get delivered in less than 10 minutes yesterday. It was miraculous. Thank you to security. They were wonderful. So that is going on now, and you can see a couple of comments. When these alumni purchase these coats and pants and scarves from all over the country for our students, they can include a little gift tag and they can put their own comments in there. So you can see some of the things that they've written, which is really sweet. And then last is finally, thank you, Principal Thompson. We finally got approval to change the signage at the stadium. So that is happening right away before anyone changes their mind. So we're hoping we can get that done by January 27th, weather permitting, and that's Chris Pollard's birthday, or sometime during February for History Month. So that's what's going on. The quiz for the month. Since we're talking about the campus, and this is easy, what was the land upon which we rest right now? What was it before the school was built? And there are 3 correct answers. Anyone? Bueller? Yes? You're thinking of Riverview, but that was next door. Very good. So I don't want to belabor this because we're all tired. So all along the river, there were clay pits where they mined, I guess, I don't know what you call it, dug, to make Chicago brick. It was also a junkyard, like a garbage dump. But we're not that proud of that one. And the third was, it was Mid-City Golf Course. So if you see some, it might even be in the rendering that's in the main office over the mailboxes, you can see on that side of Addison, they built the school, but there were still some holes and greens left on that side.
So the north side of Addison was the golf course?
It was like where Waveland Bowl is all the way up to here. Yeah. Feel better? Feel smarter? Yes. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Michelle. Next up, students.
Okay, I'll start with city council to be short because it's in our slow kind of meeting right now, but the ID's preparation is picking up. So we had a president's meeting this morning. So everyone's getting their clubs together, their merge approved, and most clubs have started throwing their dances. Freshman student council elections are, I don't know the actual election date, but they're starting to campaign. So we're gonna have our new freshman reps tomorrow. Okay. Oh, yeah, tomorrow. Okay. So tomorrow we're gonna have new student council representatives. The student council year photo was taken, and then, looking to the future, we have a holiday spirit week before winter break, a Valentine's Day, like plushie sale, so that money will go to student council. And then senior student council is looking to have a senior movie night at, Corner Park, I think. We have a student last year whose mom works there, so we're hoping to kind of, oh, with Sean Bro, he used to be on LSC, so we're hoping to coordinate with him and his mom to try to get space to have a senior movie night, and then we'll do like concessions or something there, so we'll have tickets, which will raise money, and then people can buy like snacks and stuff there, which we're hoping will also raise money. So that's all that's happening in student council currently. Throughout the year.
Yeah, all right, so all the students are gonna be participating in the December Science Fair, are gonna have their final meeting with their mentors on November 20th. And 3 Alpha alumni families are going to be contacted to request generous donations in support of student projects. Alumni and professionals have been requested to judge the fair. And the Omega Council has continued its work planning workshops, the day of service, and creating merch for both seniors and the program at large. So,
okay, we welcome 6,500 guests at Saturday's open house with 75 staff and 275 student volunteers. Seniors had their FAFSA meeting during advisory yesterday. 27 seniors were named as Posse finalists, and 15 main seniors are Questbridge finalists, so that's pretty impressive. And 83.68% of non-cluster seniors have applied to at least one school as of the 10th. The pre-ACT is scheduled for December 4th. We had our first annual Armed Service Fair on November 6th. Principal Thompson had touched on it, but we have 3,366 students registered to take 7,413 APAs. And then kind of in line with the PPLC, there's been a lot of development with peer tutoring programs around the school. So in talking about like safe learning environments for students, I think that will be a big step as well. I know there's efforts in math, world language, and also the National Honor Society. Both students served as election judges for the general election, and district-wide, there were over 1,900 students that were serving in those roles, so that's pretty impressive. And on that note, election talking circles were held to provide a safe space for students to share their thoughts and feelings about the election. And then the administration sent a community message emphasizing that everyone belongs in the Lane community and that we treat each other with kindness and respect, even when we disagree. The Lane Tech Choir Orchestra and Band sent over 20 students to the ILMEA District 1 Festival on November 9th. And students will receive the results of their all-state auditions in December. So that's the first time at least the choir has done that. Pretty big deal. So we're very excited about that. And then club voters are.
Thank you. Busy as usual.
Yes, yeah.
EAC?
Hi, so this year, I'm representing the EAC. This year is the first year of the what's your name? I'm Mira, M-A-Y-R-A. Gil, This is the first year we had our EAC at Lane, so we're still trying to find our way around everything. So something I have heard from the parents that come to the meeting is that there's no inclusion into their language for some of the emails they receive and some of the meetings. So they were wondering if they can be included in their language as well, so they can understand and be included. And our next meeting is going to be December 18th. It's a Wednesday at 10 a.m. and the time is still to be determined.
Did they mention which email? I'm just trying to.
Just emails that they're getting from school, they're not getting them in their language. Or their native language. Yeah.
Which specific languages do you know?
Well, so far it's well, Spanish for sure. There's other parents that go to the meeting I speak another language that I don't remember.
Okay.
Yeah, there has been something like, oh, the reason we don't come to like the LSC meetings because we just don't understand.
Okay, so when's your next meeting?
December 18th at 10 a.m. It's a Wednesday.
Okay,
We don't know what room because we still don't have a set room for our meetings.
okay.
Yeah,
So
we're still trying to find a way around.
Mr. Martinez just reserves a space since it's during the day. I don't know what we're filled to capacity, so,
Yeah.
but with that said, someone from the admin team will be at the next meeting, so we can gather just maybe some of the common languages that they're speaking about.
Yeah,
Because all of my communications go out in Spanish and English, but not in other languages.
But the ones that are speaking just in English.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then we'll look into it. Dr. Hanley is here. As we go to communication.
I know the principal communication is going out in English. Now, the student newsletter is not going out in another language.
Yeah.
So we have
Okay.
to figure out a way to.
Thank you for sharing that with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, any other business to take care of? And announcements? We need to start thinking about the pencil evaluation process. Seems like we just. Surveys. So just keep that on the radar. We'll get back. Someday. For the next meeting.
Science fair dates. In December. Science fair is in December. If it ends up happening before our next meeting, then we'll send it out to make sure you all have the date. It's slipping my mind right now. We have a lot of December. But it's
December 12th.
December. Thank you. Yep.
And then the yearbook wants us to take a picture. So maybe next meeting would be good and.
Everyone's here now.
Yeah, we could take it to, I just don't know if anyone wants to address nice.
He's so. All right.
See, I pulled up where you are. They didn't want to tell you.
When's the next meeting?
Next meeting is December 12th.
Okay. So we have to dress up.
I'm just a messenger.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting. And second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, meeting is adjourned. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.